Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to announce that the East Orange SWEP students have made it to the Newark Film Festival 2021. Our students started the summer program and they didn't know what to expect, but they put their skills and their talents together and they passionately produced this amazing film through the Lights, Camera, Action program led by award-winning journalist and producer Samson Styles. And who would have ever thought that our students would make it, and that they did, to the 2021 Newark Film Festival. Watch them as they arrive. Hello, everybody. Hello, how y'all feeling today? Clap it up for yourself because you made it out today. Everybody clap it up for yourself. I am so incredibly proud to be a part of this, right? My name is Dr. Jamila T. Davis, and I am the founder of the VIP Online Academy. And we had the pleasure to work alongside Mr. Samson Styles. Let's give it up for the producer, Mr. Samson Styles, with our Lights, Camera, Action program for the East Orange SWEP program. And students today, put together this film that has now made it as a selection to the Newark Film Festival. So let's give it up for our students that did their thing, showed their creativity, and now we are here. We also want to give a shout out to Superintendent Hassan. Where are you? The Superintendent of East Orange. Supporting our students, making these programs possible. And this film was all about taking action. Our students decided to stand up against gun violence. So you're gonna see what they did. And then after the film, we wanna have a conversation with you. What can each and every person in this room do to create change in your community? So thank you, and I'm going to turn it back over to the film festival, and they're gonna get started.
A spike in gun violence over the past year in New Jersey is a growing concern for the governor.
The deadly trend is also emerging in Paterson, where the city has seen 11 shootings in July alone.
We had 39 victims of shootings in this one past week alone.
Gun violence. State police say across the state shootings are up.
Stop the violence! Stop the violence! Stop the violence!
Gun violence is a phrase we hear way too often. Almost every conversation you hear has the words guns or shot and killed in it. Shooting people is not a game. It's not something you do in your free time. Or at least it isn't supposed to be.
My name is LaDonna Anderson, and I'm a high school student in Newark, New Jersey. Yes, I have been affected by gun violence. My teacher, Miss May, has been shot in the head by her child's father, and it took a big toll on me.
My name is Zubaida Carter. I'm 14 and I'm from East Orange, New Jersey. I was affected by gun violence personally. My mother was shot multiple times back in 2017.
My name is Neza Eza. I'm 18 years old. There are many occasions where I have been affected by gun violence. Some have been my friends, some have been my cousin.
It's sad to see people that we know, people that we go to school with, people that we, come in contact with a lot of the time. Sad to see the fact that we may lose them over things that could be changed or things that could be avoided.
Who would have thought people wouldn't feel safe in their own homes? Young people scared walking down the streets because of all the killings in their town.
The part that I feel like the neighborhood plays in gun violence is they kind of enable it, only because if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
They don't say nothing when they see it. So when you see it, why don't you say something?
I think the causes of gun violence is mainly the community they grew up in, because, if you're raised in a good community, you're less likely to be involved in gangs and stuff.
Gangs play a huge part because they put people against each other. Like they turn friends into enemies and families into enemies.
The term an eye for an eye has demolished our nation. Are we ever going to be awakened from this dreadful nightmare?
At 6, a teacher is shot and killed outside her home in New Jersey. Police say the gunman is the father of her child.
I went to the school, Pride Academy in East Orange, and it was a teacher that we had named Miss May. One day I was getting my hair done, and my mom actually broke the news to me that she has been shot by her child's father in the head. And when we returned to school, it was very breath taken away because due to her loss, because I just seen her the week before, so now I'm going back to school, I didn't see her. So it took a big toll on everybody.
Other than my cousin, I had a friend, and my friend that was, like, me and him, we grew up together. He lost his life, and when you're close to somebody and when you're so close to somebody and you see, like, you can have a conversation with them in one moment and in the next moment their life can be gone just like that. When you see somebody take their last breath and when you see somebody's life get taken from them, it's hard because there's nothing you can do. You can only pray.
While some people are applauding for their accomplishments, others are grieving with passivity. By the age of 9, I shouldn't have had full experience of what gun violence is like. Or better yet, I shouldn't have had that at all. My mother was shot multiple times back in 2017. She was out with her sister, her cousin, and they were just trying to enjoy their night at a comedy club. And some guys, I guess they were looking for somebody, and they shot up the club. And my mom and my aunt were victims of it. My mom, she was in the hospital for a couple weeks, maybe up to a month, I'm not even sure. I had to basically step up. I had to take care of my little sister. I just had to mature at a really young age. I was 10 at the time. After that, we went to go see our mom in the hospital, and then, yeah, she had to go through surgery, 8-hour surgery. She got 8 nails in her knee and 1 pleat. She got shot twice in her arm and once in her knee. And when she came home, she couldn't walk, so she was in bed all the time, so I had to learn how to cook. You know, I cooked meals, I washed clothes, I did dishes. I've seen and written RIP so many times that's become a part of my vocabulary. So from now on, I'll put myself on confinement so the next bullet doesn't end up in me.
I think what can be done is to stop gun violence is, like, you know, try to talk to them, you know, try to take young kids off streets, not, you know, try to run down on them and arrest them, because that's affect them even more.
You mentioned Mayor Green, and we've seen around the country there are a lot of cities who are dealing with upticks in crime, and East Orange is not. Could you share some of the reasons and some of the things that you think are working in East Orange that are causing crime, the crime reduction at such a seat?
Look, one thing we're very proud of, and I have to kind of reflect back on our police department. Many of them, I'm gonna say close to 75%, it may be a little more. Most of those men and women are from East Orange. And our police department is engaged in our community, right? And not only that, when other cities went through that uptick, right, in terms of what happened to George Floyd and other people, Breonna Taylor and Tamir Rice, if you notice in the city of East Orange, we didn't have that problem. But the number one thing I was so proud of, Jamila and LaDonna and Mayor's Office of Employment and Training in my office, when those young people came to me and said, hey, Mayor, we want to do a march here in the city of East Orange. I didn't have one reservation about allowing our young people to have that voice, to protest, because you should. You should always fight for what's right. And not only that, our police department joined hands.
To stop gun violence, you have to limit the access of guns.
There's a gun buyback program we're having this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be at New Vision Baptist Church, that's Warmington and Grove Street. If you have any questions, you can always call the police department. They may have it on the city's website as well, but they are giving up to $250 per weapon. No questions asked. Run to that location. Again, the gun buyback program that we're sponsoring here in this city.
What I think could be done to stop gun violence is basically when you speak to kids, you can't speak to them like you're their authority. You have to speak to them like you understand, even if you don't, because come as a kid, as a teenager, I know that if you speak to me like you're older than me, it's just gonna go one ear and not the other. But if you speak to me like you understand, like if you really get deep with me, then I might just listen.
My number one goal is, as this mayor, is to make sure that none of y'all young people have to think about any crime going
my city at no time. I want y'all to go, get your education, and enjoy the city that you live in.
So, did you guys enjoy the film? Yeah. Clap it up if you actually enjoyed the film. Okay, guys, so we want to have a conversation today, right? So we want to talk about the film, but we also want to talk about action steps. What can we do next to combat gun violence? So I'm going to ask Mr. Sampson Styles and the students that were part of the film, will you come down? All of our students that took place and took part of the film. Yes, clap it up. So it's cool to be in the theater and to make the film festival, and that's really great. But really the question becomes, what can we all do? What action steps can we choose to do together? And something that's really important to me is that cities are together here. It's not just East Orange, but Newark's in the building. Where's Newark at? Okay? And I love that because these are cities coming together to create change, which is most important. So I'm going to give the mic over to Sampson. He's going to talk to you, and the students are going to talk to you about their process, what they went through to create this this film, and then we're going to bring up Director Yuri and her team to talk about combat violence.
Yeah, my name is Sampson Styles. I taught the class Lights, Camera, Action. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I have 8 documentaries under my belt, all aired on national or international platforms. My students really put their foot in this. That's why I wanted the ones that was behind the scenes, the ones that we gave their marching orders, and they put this together with the help of my guidance, of course, within 1 week. So it's important to know that this stuff will take over a month to 2 months tops to even put something together like that. And these students with myself did this in 1 week. I'm talking about interviews, everything, in 1 week. So that alone definitely deserves praise, and y'all should be proud of yourself. And then making yourself as vulnerable as y'all did by sharing your story, you can see how it came off on screen. So I want to start off with Neza. I want to start off asking you, why did you feel it was important to participate in this film and share your story?
Hi, my name is Neza. I felt like it was important for me to participate in this film and share my story because growing up in the streets of East Orange and Newark, I started losing the people I loved when I was 13. At first it started at months at a time, years at a time, and then it became weeks and then days and then back to back. So I felt like the last straw was when I lost my older brother back in 2016. He got shot in his head by somebody he was really close with. So I felt like at that point is when I needed to start speaking out and advocating for gun violence or gun prevention. Because after my cousin, it became habitual. It started becoming my close friends, the people I grew up with, my cousins, and so forth and so on. So I figured, well, if I have a voice, why not speak for the people who can't speak for themselves? Why not try to put an end to it before our whole generation just ends up dead?
This is our youth, y'all. Same question. Let's go down the line. And I didn't mean to skip you. It's gonna come right back around to you, brother. Man, yeah.
Okay, my name's LaDonna. I feel like my story should have been shared because not a lot of people even talk about their teachers due to how they're being affected by it. I was really affected by the situation because she was like my second mom. Throughout the whole school, she was the only teacher that believed in me when it came to schoolwork, my dreams, and my goals. And basically she was like my rock, and I lost her. So I feel like I had to share that. I know a lot of kids lost their teachers due to either death, gun violence, or something else. So I wanted to speak up and share it because I don't do it, who else is going to do it? Us as youth, we need to start speaking up and open our mouths. We open our mouths for something else, but why can't we do it for gun violence?
Right.
Hello, my name is Andre Hobson. I chose to speak at the council meeting that we had because knowing that we have a lot of young people in East Orange who we have lost over a course of almost a year now, to me, it felt imperative to bring up such a topic because we are so young, we barely even lived life yet. So for us to lose as many people as we are losing, I felt it was something that we needed to speak about and needed to be spoke on because it not only affects those people and their families, but it affects us, those that are around them and come in contact with them as well.
And yes. Clap it up. And before you speak, I wanted to let everyone know that when we came up with the subject matter to document, Zubaida, she also wrote that poem that you heard her saying. We knew right then and there that was going to be the thread, basically that was going to be the spine that threads the whole story together. And now tell them why you participated and what this project meant to you.
Hi, I'm Zubaida Carter. I felt it was important to share my story because you never know. It could influence people, young teenagers out here to stop killing, because they don't realize that when you're shooting people, that you're not just shooting them, you're hurting their family and their friends. And so it's just, maybe it'll help them realize, and even the ones who's not into it yet, who's like surrounded by that community, maybe it could help them realize like, okay, this is not the lifestyle I want to be in. I want to be somewhere. I want to be somebody. And yeah, it was really fun to film this.
Okay. So now, last on the line is Jalil, right? And he made the music. So most of he scored it. He hit me up and said, this is the songs that I made to go along with the track. So you can see this is all produced by the ones that you see up here. So tell me, your process and why you wanted to participate and basically how you feel about the film.
I wanted to participate personally because this is a very scary subject and it's something that needs to be heard, and I want to make an impact and I want to actually be a part of this movement if it can change gun violence. And with the music part, I had to come up with different chord progressions so that it can go with the mood of the video, so that everything can go into play and you could actually feel the video and get an understanding of it.
And we definitely felt it. Can we have some, this is the section where we talk about action and, as far as the people that can actually get things done and communicate with the youth and have this happen. I think you would be best.
Okay. So this is what I want you guys to do. I want y'all to stay up front, so if we can have you sit down, just kind of social distance a little bit, right? And then if we could have Director Keisha Yuri come down to the stage. We have Director Yuri, give it up for Director Yuri. We also have Takia Reeves in the building, Takia, and Shaka, and Digga. Would you guys come down to the front? Guys, clap it up for them. So now we're gonna do something a little bit different, right? Our students talked about gun violence from the perspective of seeing it and from hurting because their friends were hurting. Now we're going to talk about it from the angle of those who've been directly impacted, whether it be them being actual shooters or actually being a victim of gun violence or being shot. So we wanted to talk about it from different perspectives so folks can understand the realness of this subject. So we're asking everybody, I know y'all a little shy, but we're gonna keep it real today. Today is a day to keep it real because we're talking about community and change. And we're gonna participate in a discussion of what's next. And my council people in the house, the lawmakers in the building, we wanna get you guys involved. So we're gonna talk to you in a few minutes about things and steps and next steps of things happening. Now I'm gonna introduce my good friend, Director Keisha Yuri, who is the Director of the Violence Prevention Office for Newark. Clap it up for Keisha again.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, we thank Jamila for all of her hard work and Samson for this film. East Orange SWEP program, amazing job. We take our hats off to you. So we ran a program in the summer as well. We did an 8-week Safe Summer Academy in the city of Newark, where we hire 120 young people and adults to participate in entrepreneurship, health and wellness, life skills, different, it was an earn to learn program, probably similar to the one that we did in East Orange as well. And these were some of our participants that were in the program for the summer. But my program was aimed more so to people who have either been affected by violence, whether that was domestic violence, sexual assault, or community violence. So they were either the victims, we don't like perpetrators, but the perpetrators, or directly or indirectly affected, or you witnessed violence. And so we brought these people together to be able to learn together, but to also create bonds. And I think that we were quite successful in that. So we're here today with Digger, J.U., Shaka, and Takia, and we want to just talk to them a little bit about their experience in the program, but also their experience by being impacted by gun violence. So we'll start with Takia on this end.
Yes, give it up for Takia.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? My name is Takia Reeves and I am a survivor of gun violence. I was shot on 335 Mulberry Street, it's not around here, at a club called The Boulevard on July 9th, 2017. So the situation kind of, we don't limit that because I don't really know too much about the situation, but I was at the club and it was a dude there. And he was, I would consider him a baby because he was like 14 years younger than me. So he basically kind of was disturbing the peace in the club, so they kicked him out. And instead of just leaving and going home or finding another club to go to, he came back shooting. But because of the situation, what he was doing in the club made me want to leave because the crowd was like, all right, this is kind of immature for me, so I'm ready to go. And at the same time I was leaving the club, he came back to retaliate from being kicked out the club, and I got caught in the crossfire. So it was like, people, when you get shot or whatever the case may be and you go through things like that, people automatically assume that you live a certain lifestyle. And that's definitely not true. I'm a mother, I have 2 kids. I was in college, I had a job, I started a new job the next day, so that wasn't my lifestyle at all. I was a homebody, I didn't even go outside or to clubs for that matter. I ended up being shot once in the stomach and once in the right leg. I did walk around with a big hernia on my stomach. I looked about 7 months pregnant for about a good 3 years. I literally just got my last surgery November 20th, November 2020. So it was like, I got shot all the way in 2017, but till this day, it's still impacting my life. I kid you not, I arrived at the hospital unresponsive. They were calling it DOA, but clearly I'm right here. I coded 7 times, meaning my heart stopped 7 times during 7 different operations. I had an operation on my birthday, which is crazy. That means I literally died on my birthday in 2017. But they performed CPR on me for about 5 minutes, and like after 6 you could go brain dead. So it was like, I lost 4.5 liters of blood. If you look it up, the average human only has 4.7. So if you ask me why I'm still here, I'm gonna tell you God. Yeah. So it was like, that's all I can tell you. So basically you go through a lot. If you ask me how it feels to get shot physically, mentally, emotionally, it hurts. It hurts, period. literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, it hurts. You go through a lot. I stayed in the hospital for over 2 months. I got shot on July 9th. My 30th birthday was July 24th. I didn't get home until after November. So it was like I couldn't see my kids. I couldn't do nothing, and it was crazy because it was like life really don't stop for nobody, and it's like life really happens, and people be like, oh, you're strong and you're this, and I had to go through what I had to grow through because I had no choice but to go through it. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, oh, I'm gonna get shot today. But for a long time, I was depressed. I was sad. I lost my faith in God because it was like, out of all the good I do, why did this happen to me? Like, what did I do so wrong? Like, for this to happen to me, I couldn't understand or fathom the thought, like, why am I going through this? And so after a while, I kind of stayed to myself. I started breaking down, I started crying, I started praying, and God was like, look, you got a story, you have a testimony, I handed this to you, you survived, you got shot because I knew you was going to survive. I broke you and then I blessed you because if I didn't tell y'all I got shot, I could stand next to you and y'all wouldn't even know it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like now I have a story, and my whole thing to do with my story is to advocate, inspire, and motivate. And I'm going to keep telling my story over and over again. I don't care who's going to be tired of hearing it, but to be honest, I get more encouragement and inspiration and good things when I do tell my story. But that's it.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to pass the mic. And my question to you, Shaka, is how have you been impacted by gun violence? And introduce yourself.
My name is Shaka. How I've been impacted, I can say I got impact all the way around the board. Me, I got shot 3 times in my chest, once in my arm, in front of my mother and them, you know what I'm saying? But, at the time, I ain't learned, you know what I'm saying? It was just get back, That's all that was in my mind. But I know with everything is I was traumatized, but at the point I didn't know I was traumatized because when I got shot, I'm like, all right, my mother cried, all this, all that. Somebody gonna feel it too. So we start doing this and that, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't stopped right there. Even when I wanted to step away from it, everybody got on me on why you trying to just leave us to the woods when you the one who started this, you feel what I'm saying? So everything that I did, it started to impact not just everybody my age, but my younger generation who was following behind us, and they start dying more than us, you feel what I'm saying? We knew how to play it, but they didn't know they jumped in head first. And just this year, 5 of them just died. The oldest probably was 18. Youngest, 14 years old, following behind us. It's but I try to make a difference, but it's still anger. I still got some anger. Honestly, I didn't even want to be here and speak because that's not where my mind at right now. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm ready for change, but I don't know if I'm ready because I'm still thinking on the other side of the barrel, I'm still thinking about getting get back. We tried, we wanted to stop, but I wanted to stop, but that don't mean the other side wanted to stop. They still sending shots at me. So it's what is we supposed to do? You feel what I'm saying? I know everybody got a family. He got a mother, he got a mother, she got a mother. Nobody don't want to lose no son.
Right. That's right.
Nobody, I don't care if it's us. I know they mother don't either, but how I was feeling before my mother and them lose that, you feel what I'm saying? I just lost my sister. I know my mother be hurt to lose another kid. Right. So it's the way my mentality is, I'm not gonna go, at this point I learned to be humble with it, But then I know I gotta keep a gun, you know what I'm saying? Because that's key to my survival right now. I learned survival. That's what it's about right now, but a lot of people
Shaka, stop right there. First of all, let's congratulate him for his honesty, right? Because he's being honest so that we can have a real conversation, right? So now what happens? He's saying you get to a point where you say you don't want to do it anymore. Right. You step back, right? You get involved and you step back, but then it's still going on. So what do? So one of our students wants to ask a question or say something.
My question was, let's say that you do think about getting your revenge and you start putting it into motion, like what is that gonna do for you? Like, that's just my question. Like, what do you think that's gonna accomplish?
Honestly, it's not going to do nothing for me, like real talk, but I'm gonna feel a little better that, like, yeah, like you just one less person you gotta worry about, you feel what I'm saying? I understand more come with it, but it still give me that relief. Like, I ain't one of those internet bragging all this and that. Nah, what happened, that's just how it is. But I know when it comes to that, I'm at war with the system and the streets, so it's like, it's a hard game to play, but I don't get no satisfaction out of it.
She's added another part to it.
Oh, it's not a question, it's just, I know you might not listen to me because like I'm a kid, but my advice to you is just, I feel like you're gonna feel way more better if you just get away from that life. Like, you're gonna feel way more better. You're gonna feel complete with yourself.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that. Now, as we go on, because we want to talk more to Shaka too, but we have the other two, I want folks in the audience, if you have something to say, I want you to raise your hand, because today we're talking about solution-based, right? So we know what the problem is, we understand the epidemic, but what's the solution? When you are someone who decides you don't want to be a part of the game anymore, you don't want to do this anymore, you want to step away, what do? Shaka, for all intents and purposes, it sounded like you said you feel trapped. You want to walk away and you're trying to walk away. I saw you in this program. I saw you come every day and how diligent you have been about change. But what are the solutions? What happens to our people who really want to change, but they're still stuck in a lifestyle because they're still stuck in the same neighborhood, right? So can you tell them some of your challenges about why it's been difficult for you to get out?
Like one reason, I did what I did, you know what I'm saying? Like one of the things that still follow me to this day is something I did but didn't finish. And I knew like I should have got it done, but it's like God bless everybody, he blessed me, so he blessed him, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't his time. And I let it go, you feel what I'm saying? I felt bad for what I did because at the end of the day, he wasn't on my level or he wasn't in deep how I'm in deep. And I came home from the feds like 2 months ago. As soon as I get home, I had people trying to set me up doing all this, and the same person I did this to, I felt sorry for doing this to him. He put $10,000 on my head for somebody to kill me. So how I'm gonna sit around and let this man do this, you know what I'm saying? Take me from when I just felt bad for you, for everything that I did to you, I tried to change it, you know what I'm saying? And what I'm gonna just let my next man, the man's next to me, he might get hungry, cash that check. Instead of doing that, I knocked the check off the guy who's gonna pass out that check. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the struggles with it. It's like, sometimes it ain't no turning around.
So Keisha, let's talk about what do they do? What do we do with a situation where we have turmoil in a community and it doesn't stop? We have a lot of respected directors and council people in the audience, and they need to hear this because this is the conversations that don't really happen. Could you talk about some of your challenges that you had trying to help him? What happens when this kind of violence breaks out in a community? How do we break the cycle when one is saying they're ready to stop but the other continues to go?
So we certainly know that that's a challenge in terms of what do, because we know that you can't control people. People control themselves and their own actions. So for some of these situations, and I'm not going to speak specifically to his, we have people like Mr. Ali right here. Mr. Ali Workflow is a hardworking mentor and outreach worker in the community, an incredible messenger who goes and mentor and try to mediate the situations. So we bring the two individuals into the room and we ask the questions around how can we mediate this? How can we stop this? Is there anything that we can do? And so we have that tough conversation because most people are not going to do it. Most people are not going to bring the individuals into the room to try to mediate it. So we're doing mediation, we're doing mentorship, we're doing counseling, therapy, relocation, because sometimes you just can't and you got to relocate people. So we're doing relocations. We getting people into the car in the middle of the night and we taking them where they need to go and hopefully they don't come back. We doing the work that law enforcement can't do. We doing the work that sometimes a lot of their parents can't do. and you need some other outside alternatives. So we're doing the tough work, and we're doing the work that we can't even say out here in public, right? Because it's borderline, probably breaking the law. But to save people's lives, to do what you need to do, you gotta do the impossible. So it's a critical situation, so you're doing the critical work.
Thank you for sharing that. Give it up for Director Yuri. So we're gonna move right along, and we're gonna ask you to introduce yourself, and can you tell us how you've been impacted by gun violence?
Hello, my name is Justin, you call me JU. But how I've been impacted on violence, I've been impacted a lot. I mean, it's still, I've been traumatized, but I still can't sleep on my back. You know, actually I was with him when I got shot. We both got shot at the same time. So, shocker. But yeah, I'm also traumatized by just off the fact how it happened and how it went, and just in the hospital seeing Shaka there in the bed. So it's just like, damn, like all this, like, is it my past coming to haunt me, or maybe it's just life? But majority, I thought it was hate. You know, when you got a name, you somebody, there's gonna be somebody that ain't gonna like it, just for no reason. It's jealousy, animosity, and secret hidden agendas. So, by that, well, me, I'm a survivor. I'm right. Strong.
That's right.
I still look in the mirror, see 2 wounds, like 3 wounds on my back. 1 grazed, 1 went in, went out. Still, like, all these scars is on me. It just made me go harder. Like now, like, and feels like with this program or what we got going on, it's actually saving us a lot.
Can you talk about the program and how it's saving you?
Bro, how it saved me? It saved me just off God waking me up in the morning. I'm getting there early every day. That's 1. For 2, I'm out the streets. I ain't doing what I'm supposed to do. For 3, it's a new beginning. For 4, it's an opportunity. For 5, I'll make it 5. Like, and yes, it's supportive and entrepreneurship and everything in the book. Like I prayed for. So, and actually, I spoke to Miss Keisha. I called Miss Keisha this morning and said, "No, we need to keep something going because that had a focus. Like we've been here. We came in like concentrate. So I'm saying, like, damn, like this one played a big impact. Where like we work with each other, meeting new people, get paid. I mean, some people was complaining, but we wasn't doing nothing. Like, so I mean, I actually got more traumas where my own man's tried to kill me. I got in a car accident, almost died. This scar right here on my forehead, that's for life. It looked good on me though. So, it's multiple, like, friends died due to liquor, gun violence.
Okay, one of our students wants to ask a question.
Talk to me.
Alright, so listen, I know what it is, but I know like y'all ain't choose this lifestyle because nobody chose this lifestyle. Nobody chose to be in the streets. Nobody just chose a lifestyle. Period. So like, what advice would you give to the little brothers, to the little homies in the hood, like to just minimize the violence, like calm that down? Because at this point, we getting tired. Not just y'all as an older generation, we getting tired. I'm getting tired of burying my brothers. I'm getting tired of burying my friends. I'm at the point where I done left the state to get my life together. So it's like, what advice would you give to little brothers that actually want to stay in the hood and do all the dumb nonsense? Like, what would you say to them?
Actually, like, I'm actually dealing with that right now, talking to people. But I noticed that you can't help nobody that don't want to be helped. They mindset's stuck on that one basement level, and I'm already on the 5th floor. I'm gonna just tell you whatever advice I could give you. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's like now, like you said, it's getting worse. But now it's the time for us to speak, and I feel like now is the time because this definitely got to be heard, like, because we holding in so much, like, how like, mixed emotions, feelings, like, stress, especially stress, like, that's hard to speak on. Like, I still don't open up to people. It's hard. But I know if somebody catch me, I can open up to them, but advice I get to them, stay out the streets. I'm
That's right, stay out the streets.
I'm keeping it short and simple, like, because I ain't about to get them a whole lecture, because some people, like, that go on one end, go out the other. They don't want to hear it. Like, it's majority, though. I don't, like, honestly, if I could get 1 out of 10 people, I'm satisfied with that.
Yes, wrap it up. Okay, we got one more person, and then we gotta wrap it up. So you can talk to us about who you are and the impact that gun violence has had on you.
My name is Sean. I go by the name of Digger. My nickname. Well, first I want to say, you gotta choose your friends wisely. Choose people that you be around, because the people that you be around can be the enemy. But I played football at East Orange.
Okay. All right.
I was a Jaguar at one point. Basically, let me start off. I was shot July 21st, 2021, 2 months ago. I was shot in my knee and my thigh in front of my house. I was with my cousin, I was with my little brother, 3 of us on the porch. I leave my head down for 1 second, I pick it up for 1 second, I get shot, I'm getting shots thrown at me. God, I'm just happy to be here right now. So it's just, I lost a lot of friends, I lost a lot of friends. I lost 3 friends in a matter of a couple of months in this whole entire summertime. I just lost a friend during Labor Day weekend. Close friend of me Labor Day weekend, so I still be like, I be in my emotions, but sometimes it's not about being emotional, it's about just taking it to another step, keep your mind off, do what you gotta go through, make what's best out of you. Don't be in the streets, that's not nothing what you wanna do. Be in the streets ain't gonna get you nowhere but 6 feet under or being locked up. I know that's not what y'all wanna do. I done been locked up before, even being shot, I told myself, even when I was in the hospital, I told myself what was the next step. What I go on from that? What I do? I go back to what I was doing before, or the next step, just take your mind off it and just go, achieve your goals. I told myself to achieve my goals. I got shot during the middle of the program. Most people who get shot, they just, they worry about they get back, they worry about, I'm gonna go back through this. It ain't really always about that. It's not always about that. Like, just you got life's obstacles, you gotta figure out yourself.
Yes, push it through. All right, so guys, before we wrap it up, I want to put Samson back on, and he's going to tell you a little bit. We're going to talk about solutions, and I want to ask the audience about any solutions. But can you tell them what the solution was for you?
What I didn't mention is that I was also a victim of gun violence. I got shot 5 times, and that was in 1988. Right? So this is a cycle. This is like 33 years later, right? Same thing. I could count over 100 people that I know personally that died. Then everybody in my 2 buildings I grew up with that I was tight with, dead. And some are just coming home now from the 80s, right? Yeah. So, and I was also a perpetrator at one time with gun violence. I was no angel. I was in the streets, so I could relate to Shaka, I could relate to the brothers up here. But what I did, when one of the brothers that came home that shot me up, and I had beef with a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people trying to kill me. A whole bunch of people. My mother tell you, like, her worst nightmare was getting calls late at night because she thought it was that them telling her that her son finally has kicked the bucket. You know what I'm saying? So what I did, I came home from prison in 2004. I started doing films. Instead of shooting the gun, I started shooting the camera. And I turned that into some money. Right, flipped the game, and then by 2006, I was at BET. Once I got the position there, I made sure I soaked up everything I could. I learned everything I could. I was the first one there and the last one to leave. Then I went on my own. But when the person that came home that shot me, just like Shaka, you know how that is. Somebody come home and you already had beef. Now I'm worried about, oh man, I'm gonna get pulled back in this game again. Right. So I made sure we connected with each other, spoke to each other, wound up teaming up together to speak to youth at juvenile detention centers and that alternative incarceration programs to make sure that we had now a vested interest in each other. And we wasn't best of friends. It looked like it on camera. I made a documentary about it right now that's on on universal platforms. It's on Amazon, it's on Tubi, it's on Xbox, iTunes. It's called Killing Beef, Gun Violence in the Black Community. So that's part of the solution, like Ms. Keisha said, getting people together to mediate. But we did that on our own. Because just as much as I didn't want to kill him and go back to what I was doing before this great opportunity of becoming a producer, he didn't want to go back to jail after doing 20-something years. You know, so he wanted to stay out too, but he's worried about me. Cause he's like, yo, hold up, you know, he's out here, you know how the streets go, he could put a ticket on my head, and I don't know, maybe I gotta get him first, and so we just resolved all that by having a conversation.
Wow.
And then a conversation. Then we realized that both of us had interest in the youth. Both of us did not want the youth to come down the path that we were once in. So that was our common denominator. We still wasn't the best of friends, but that was part of the solution.
So we're talking about solutions. So any of our students here want to add any solutions, or anybody in the audience have a solution that we can add? What can we do as community members to combat gun violence?
My name is Jose. The only thing that you can do to stop gun violence right now is, there's a lot of followers. So you need an advocate from every neighborhood. See, I live in East Orange, I live down the hill. So much gun violence going on down the hill, south side, everything's going on. So you don't get everybody from every neighborhood. That somebody that everybody listens to is never gonna stop. Because there's a lot of followers. So you got 20 people talking, 2 or 3 little homies telling them, hey Brody, like, go do this, I'm gonna give you this thing, I'm gonna give you this thing. They listen to them. But before they listen to their own brother, their own mother. Because I'm gonna keep it honest, there's a lot of people that listen to me before they listen to their own mother. Just like when I was in the streets, I used to listen to older niggas before I listened to my mother, before I listened to my father. I listen to them before I listen to them. So right now, if you don't get somebody from each neighborhood to come together and at least speak and see that, then you're gonna never fit.
Give it up for Jose, right? So Jose, now let me ask you a question. What could you personally do? Because I'm committed to East Orange, right? So this is a city that I want to see, make sure my students stay safe. How can we work together to do what you just said? Because you said you have a solution. How do we work together to implement the solution in the neighborhood?
Well, I'm gonna be honest, I just came home from prison not so long ago. I was in the streets, I'm 32, I got a daughter. I don't send her around the corner to the park, but a lot of people in the neighborhood know and respect me. They know what type of time I'm doing. They know I may have changed and I may slow down, but I'm still that same person that's never gonna stop. They know, and they listen to me, they respect me because they know I done did so much in my past that they look at it like, oh yeah, he did this, he did that.
So what are you working on now? What are you doing now?
Chef Brad.
Okay. All right. Are we open to creating a program in East Orange where we can work with students and work with people?
I got like 2-3 people I know that back in the day, you know, they did their thing in the streets and they've been speaking. We've been talking to each other. We've been trying to do something to get the community together. Like, we've been trying to see if we can get a PAL system going for the baseball, you know, in East Orange.
So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pass the mic to the folks that, you know, the city folks over here. Hold on 1 second. Let me pass the mic.
I'm Brittany Claybrook. I'm a councilwoman from the second ward, stand up in East Orange. So first thing, I just want to, before I start my comment, I just want to thank everybody for being here because it takes a lot to talk about these kind of things in a platform where you're wondering if the police are listening or if you're wondering, you know, what's going to happen to you for speaking out. I come from a place, I'm not from East Orange, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Everything you heard about it is true. And so one of the things that I love about our city is that, as they talked about, the cops are from there, right? It's very easy to start programs in the city of East Orange. Because where I come from, this ain't a thing. This is not a thing at all. And so one of the things that we can start to do is find more ways for people to start eating. Because if you talk to people and ask them what's going on, the first thing they're gonna tell you is, I gotta eat. Yes. You know, my father spent 13 and a half years in prison, my mom 12. And the first thing they're gonna tell you is we had to eat. Our kids had to eat. And so for me, I'm all about workforce development, finding ways for people to work. It's not about fast money, it's about building careers, right? It's also getting people at the table saying, look, what other opportunities can we build for kids? We need a new rec center in the city of East Orange. we need things for people to do. We are working on redoing the baseball field so that these kids can be in baseball and things, because when I got kicked out of school, it was either go to school or go to the street. Or, do nothing at all, or die, right? So for me, that's a very important thing, and I do believe you're right, that some of our role models are in the streets. They're not on TV, they're not in elected office, right? If I don't tell people where I come from, they are not interested in what I have to say. And so it's important that y'all speak out and you continue to do what you're doing.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Councilwoman Tamika Garrett Ward. I'm actually going to speak to you in 3 capacities. As a mother, as a 25-year City of Newark Board of Education educator, and as a councilwoman. It starts when children are young, right? There are influences. There are influences in the home, and there are influences outside the home. We have so many children who have come from families with strong foundations. As some of the young people said, they didn't listen to their parents. Right. So the parent, you can't always say, oh, it's the parents' fault. It's the community's fault.
That's right.
Where did the days go when if Mr. Miller was going down the street doing something she wasn't supposed to do, Miss LaDonna is going to check her. Miss Brittany is not going to say, don't say nothing to my child. Where's the community? We have to get that back. I know when I grew up, my grandmother, if I thought about it, I was, put it this way, if I thought about it, she knew and I would be in trouble. That's how things went. Gun violence has affected every single one of us in this room. You did not have to be shot in order for it to affect you. If you are a student, when I was a little girl, we didn't have these things that we call lockdowns. Why do we have lockdowns in the schools? Because of gun violence. To where someone had a gun for whatever reason. They couldn't control their anxiety, their emotions, their depression, to where they went and took it out not only on other people, but sometimes themselves as well. So we gotta get the guns out of the hands of those who don't need them. I do believe in people being able to bear arms to protect themselves and their property and their family in a proper way. But not to go out and just do harm because I'm upset. We have to do better. The young man that said he's from down the hill, I need to talk to you because I might be your councilwoman for down the hill.
I know that's right. That's solutions, yes.
And Timothy said the park around the corner, that's the park that we're working on to fix that baseball field. So I also, as a councilwoman, chair the recreation committee. When kids don't have places to go after school, they get into trouble.
That's right.
So we need funding for programs. We need funding for a new recreation department.
Yes.
We need funding for programs. What you guys are doing, I commend you. I lost a relative due to gun violence. I want to say 5 years ago, shot and killed, body left in the park.
Wow.
So, gun violence is real. It affects everyone, whether you're black, white, brown, it affects everyone. We're dealing with the aftermath of all sorts of violence. When we go into City Hall, if you come to City Hall to visit, you have to walk through a metal detector. You go into some schools, you have to walk through a metal detector. Why? Because of gun violence. So we can't sit here and say, oh, it's only affecting them because they're in the hood. Well, we all in the hood.
That's right, yeah.
It happens in the suburbs, so it's not just in the hood. And for those of you who are saying that you want to get out and you get reeled back in, I understand, I know. I have a friend who I went to school with, her brother back in the late 80s, ended up getting locked up, did time, and when he got He got locked up for murdering someone. During the time he was locked up, his mother died. His sons grew up into young men. And when he got out, he and I had a conversation, and he says, you know, the worst part about being locked up was I couldn't even go to my mother's funeral.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
That's good stuff. Thank you so much.
So the program that you all have, please continue with it. The sister right there, I need to see you afterwards.
Yes, yes. Okay, and then after you, we're gonna pass it over to Superintendent Hassan.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I commend you guys for standing up here. That's bravery enough. My name's Chi, right? I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. You know it's rough. Gun violence, gang violence is all the same to me. Someone's losing their family. You get what I'm saying? So check this out. You turn that negative into a positive, you manifest what your goals are in life, and you go for it. You don't look back. You don't worry about the haters. You understand? Profess love. God's watching you. That's why you're still here. You understand? At 11 years old, worked as a screen printer with an NYPD officer named Frank. Check this out, right? Paid me $300 a week. There's a quick story. Got me out of the hood. I could have been out there gang banging, you feel me? But what I did, I turned that, I said, you know what? I'm gonna put money on my mom's table. And I learned music, and I read books, and I played the clarinet in school 5. It's kind of hard to share this story with y'all. But what I'm saying, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You're gonna find it. You know what I mean? I found it in music. I don't bang sets. I bang drums, I bang keys.
That's what's
I
up.
show the youth. I want to show these girls at home that this is what we have to do for our communities. We gotta teach, man, like you can't even have your kids playing in the park. I'm pushing 40, God bless. I didn't think I'd make it to 25. I hustled, I did, you know, I shot Desert Eagles, AR-15s, like for real, you feel what I'm saying? Thorough, but guess what? I made it out of Paterson. I make a beat, I'm a producer by ghost, I do what I do, I live by my name. And I wanna share this with y'all because y'all give me the strength to make it my world better with love.
I love it.
You understand? Have that love in your heart and don't let nothing break you. We gotta uplift these children. What kind of role models are we? We out here hurting each other. We can't even walk to the street, to the store. We can't go to a restaurant without looking over our shoulders. That's gotta stop.
Yes.
I'm too old for this, man. And y'all jits, I look up to you, man. And I want you to become football players, actors, musicians, rappers. Hey, turn that aggression and write some songs, poetry. Teach these youth what we have to do for them to live in a peaceful world.
Thank you
Amen
so much.
to you guys.
Okay, now we're gonna turn the floor over to our superintendent Hassan, the superintendent of East Orange.
Thank you, Jamila Davis, for all you do here. This program could not have been developed without your team, and so I really appreciate this because I see you boots on the ground in the streets of East Orange, and as you see, our people from East Orange are truly represented because we want to deter this type of crime and deter anything that's unnecessary for our students to be successful in the community. So one thing I'm wholeheartedly about, because people always think when you're superintendent, you grew up in the suburban community, you do all this, but I'm from the streets. So I want to just give y'all brothers and sisters, the kings and queens up there, a round of applause because stand your feet today. It has to be said because we always talk about student voice, and this is the student voice right here. And as many of our kings and queens and our young princes can share their stories because they hold this and they walk to school every day and they have all this information, but where did they get an opportunity to vet this information? I'm not a stranger to what you're talking about. My father was murdered when I was in the 6th grade. My brother's incarcerated now because of gun violence. And my concern is always about policy and accessibility because you shouldn't have access to these guns. And that's my real conversation because we have to address that because there's people around this world that are making profits off the stuff that you do. I'm gonna say again, they're making profits off the underworld and the black market. So until we start to really address those real issues, to affect our community because this community is no different than Compton and a lot of other communities in Wilmington, Delaware. It's all these similarities. So So we have to really kind of stand up and build these safe haven community centers so our kids can have an outlet so they're safe all day. So we can deter this, because even after school, where do you go after school in East Orange? I mean, the recreation center, but it's available, but we need a bigger community center. We need one on the south side and the north side, because kids can't walk over and get dark at night. So we need to have safe passageways. So it's a lot of things that we really need to do in our community to address you, but I always say, I'm the superintendent of schools, education is the key. That will get you out of the system. Changing people, places, and things. Because I had to do it too. I was shot at when I was young. I did some things I wasn't supposed to do. Like, you got a street name, we all got a little street name. But I'm just Mr. Assigned Superintendent of Schools.
Amen.
So I understand where you coming from. I got my friends too. But I applaud you young queens and kings for what you did. Speaking your truth. And everybody here that want to see what's going on, because this should be a packed theater. Because this is a real issue in our community. We have shootings all the time in this community, and please rest in peace for those who lost their lives and how their families have been impacted. Because they have to carry this. Okay? So I'm gonna just turn it back over. I don't want to be long, but believe me, y'all are doing the right thing. Continue to tell your story, because your stories need to be heard. So thank you again
Really quickly, and then I'm going to step back. I encourage you all, if you have this type of trauma, to get some help too. Mental health is so important. I heard the word trauma about 4 or 5 times in there. And we're just now getting to the point in our community where we can talk about that. And we have to unnormalize violence. Even as a councilwoman, it was something I had to unlearn, because it was such a normal part of who I was, right? I felt lucky when I went home at night and nothing happened to me, you know? So we have to make it not normal to do that. And if you're experiencing any type of trauma, get some help. I did 6 years in therapy straight. And so I realized that in order for me to effect change, I had to heal from the things that were normal to me. I had to heal from being used to walking by abandoned houses. Like, that's not normal. I had to heal from, just saying, oh dang, how long they got? They gone up the road. Like, those type of things are not normal. And that type of trauma and poverty was assigned to us systematically. And so we have to deal with that. And so I encourage y'all to get some help. It's not corny to go talk to nobody about what's going on, right? I wouldn't be where I was, not because of my degrees, but because I had to unlearn it and become a better person along with my education. It's not just about the tangible things, it's what's going on.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to close out with LaDonna, but we speaking about trauma. I know you wanted to say something in trauma and healing, because that's what you said. We want to give folks a way to heal. So we don't want to just have a conversation. We heard that there's some trauma, right? You guys spoke about it in your conversation. I just wanted to hand the mic over to Director Yuri, and if you could just talk to folks in here who may be victims of gun violence. What can they do in regards to trauma? And I think when I said trauma, you said something in regards to that. Did you want to say something about that?
Yeah, because on that point, they saying like where the guns come from. We leaving a few things out. It's the music and the drugs. And, and like, the music is like now like they rap the same stuff. So it's not hard to like listen. So basically, I could wake up, I swear, this song the other day had me so mad. I'm just like, yo, I don't want gaming time like this. Like it was like whatever he's saying in the music, damn, kill a nigga and all this, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, damn, this shit got me angry as hell. Like, but.
So you saying folks need to listen to what they're listening to?
And they need rehab, because if they don't get a dose, they want to rob the whole city. Trust me, I've seen.
So we said we need rehab and we need counseling. Go ahead. Because I want these solutions to come forward. Go ahead.
I grew up off of a foundation of
and guys, we gotta wrap it up.
Just like all y'all said. But at the end of the day, like, that almost became a contradiction, because after I got shot, I went to school and got my associates and my bachelor's, and I was headed down south. But then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna leave my city because of what I've been through. But then again, it's accountability. Like, I have one brother, and my brother from down the hill in East Orange, and he got teardrops from his face and all that from when he was younger. And I used to ask him, like, what if your niece and nephew asked you where that comes from? So what I did was, it's like he said, somebody said, oh, it's big homies in the streets. There's bigger homies that's bigger than them. Like, my brother probably was in a gang that had a big homie, but I was his bigger homie, because if I left his life, that would have turned him upside down. So I'm like, look, you gotta stop doing this, you gotta stop doing that, or I'm gonna stop dealing with you. And that made my brother turn his life all the way around. Now he's a father of 2, he's out the streets and he's working and stuff. So if you can and you got somebody in your life that's like that, take accountability and be there for them. Instead of them being in the streets, pull up on them. Let's go to the movies. You get what I'm saying? Let's go to the mall. Let's do something besides you standing here on this corner with a bunch of people who still gonna be standing here when you get back. So that's all you have to do, seriously. I mean, if that's not it, it's more, but that'll help too, for real.
That's what's up.
So one of the things that we're doing in the city, we have a Westward Victims Outreach Office that we started because a lot of the men who were victims of violence wasn't getting mental health treatment. And so we opened up a storefront because we know they're not going to go to the hospital, they're not going to go to the facilities, they're not going to go, black and brown men are not going to these locations. So we opened up a place that they can go to as a storefront. So we have to have community places that they can go to with people who look like them, with people who've experienced some of the same things that they're comfortable with. So that's one of the solutions, is for us to be able to address, like we're talking about trauma, stress, depression, anxiety. Many of us have experienced loss. There's no grief counseling. We don't go to get grief counseling, grief support, because we think we don't need help. Substance abuse, #1 issue. Many of the people who commit gun violence did shoot somebody, was high, go to jail, and don't even remember that they did it, right? And so substance abuse is a real issue. We have an overdose crisis that's happening right now with opioids, right? And so substance abuse, mental health, stress, anxiety, poverty, right? Violence is about poverty for most cases, right? Violence is about power and control. What do we want power over and what do we want control over? False senses of power and control in the communities. So those are some of the things. So solutions is to create these things in the community. We got to get funding for them, we know that, but we have to be progressive and fight for and change policies around the things that we want. In the city of Newark, it's a progressive city. We are always protesting and this is what we want. We have a mayor who allows it. So we've reallocated 5% of the police department budget to do violence prevention work. So I got $12 million to do violence prevention, intervention, mediation, and put the money right back into the hands of the people who are closest to the problem.
Come on. Thank you so much for getting the pet sign.
Okay.
I thought this was an excellent forum. We need to come together and do this again. And we can feel very soon. And it's all because of the documentary that the students did with Mr. Stiles. So let's give them another round of applause. I think it opened the door for many, many conversations, and the key is solutions. And so I'm LaDonna Johns. I'm the manager of the Mayor's Office of Employment and Training. And on behalf of our Mayor, Ted Green, I thank you all for coming out this evening and sharing with us. And we're going to do this again very, very soon. I'd like to thank Dr. Davis for bringing us together with